And I told her, I don't care if he is her husband. Right now.
It's time to rise from the grave, pour yourself a cup, and enjoy the coffee crypt.
Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com. And a very special thank you to our Patreon subscribers.
Hey fam, Newman here from Movies for Days, your non-pretentious easy access movie chat podcast and weekly deep dive into any film from any genre, from any decade with anybody's guess as to how we chose that movie that week. Proud member of the You Run Podcast Network. Check us out where all great podcasts can be heard. And on Twitter at Movies Days. Movies is spelled regular, Days is spelled with a Z.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Coffee Crypt.
Good morning. This is our first one together in a long time.
Yeah, since January, right?
Well, welcome back. We've missed you at the Crypt.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back.
I'm sorry I missed the welcome back live / medical horror.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. It was fine. You should go back and watch it and laugh.
This week. So, we had our own medical horror of sorts going on.
No, for sure. Yeah. Well, and it's not like we were ever out of touch the whole time I was out anyway. We were constant communication and, you were giving updates, all that kind of stuff. So,
And we sort of cheated on your leave of absence anyway. You kind
I
of
came back for found footage. Yeah, mostly for found footage. And then, and a lot of it was really just not knowing for sure where I was going to be because I didn't know. I didn't know how I was going to feel in March.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of why I think, when we talked about it, I was like, oh, I'll just do April. And then, best case scenario, I come back early.
Right. Fair. It was, we just all contingency planning and all you're a planner.
I am. I'm a Virgo. Yeah. And God does it show. Drives my partner nuts. She hates it. I'll be like, can we go do this in 4 weeks? And she's like, that's way too far and away. I'm like,
someone's got to be the planner. I know I'm not. Dan is.
God, it drives me nuts.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
But officially to the Coffee Crypt, we are all happy to have you back, because who do we have? We had Nora, and we had a nice little roundabout sort of circulation, right? We had Nora,
yes.
Chris,
Squall was here.
Squall,
Yeah.
But none compare to you.
Good. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you guys are wonderful. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they kept the crypt warm, we'll say.
Yeah. I noticed the dirt was a little sunken in.
a few less worms were around,
That's it. Yeah.
But the news keeps it rolling. I know we have, always lots to talk about, even while we're on break or what have you is going on. This, it won't. Also, as we're kind of getting closer to spooky season, although a lot of this stuff, a lot of horror comes out in the summer. We know this too. It's not just spooky season. We have summer all year round. So, or summer all year round, horror all year round. I wish it was summer all year round. Kind of. Not really.
I don't. It's miserable here in the summer.
No, that's true. Fall, nice crisp fall. That's very typical for a horror fan, though, I suppose.
And I feel like it's the horror thing in general is it's almost like the studios realize that we will pay to see horror at other times of the year too, because we also are getting more of it at the beginning of the year, which used to be unheard of. You never got big horror movies at the beginning of the year, like January, February. But now it's it's been for a few years now. It's been all throughout.
Usually it was just the movies that they didn't really want to release, but I guess they felt like they had to. Or well, now you get all the indie movies are really kicking up. I just saw Late Night with the Devil, which was wonderful.
Yep.
But yeah, Winnie the Pooh.
I can't wait to see. Man, though, the rating differences between the original and the second one, I'm like, damn, I have to, because I never watched the first one. I was never interested. So like the second one's like killing it. It's so funny because like somebody had posted about it and was like, they really took to heart, because they went and saw it in theaters, like they really took to heart the feedback, even the people who didn't like the film, which is weird because I remember seeing people posting about them harassing reviewers that didn't like the movies, but they listened. I don't know, it's kind of an interesting thing, but
That is weird. Yeah.
I'm interested to see what the differences are, because I mean the poo looks completely different.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like better costuming. I wonder if they just sort of like, even if it comes off silly, like whatever character work they end up doing. Like
Yeah.
I heard the Christopher Robin subplot is supposed to be pretty good, like fun, And I also wonder with the reviewers too. Like you go into the first one and it's sort of like, I think it's just prime for bad reviews. But by the time you get to the second one, I wonder if like everyone who's reviewing it sort of like knows what you're getting at this point.
Sure, that's
So
fair.
you almost have to judge it on like a scale of like, okay,
Yeah.
these are the caliber of movies. So within the world, this is where it fits.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think people, and then a couple people have really just talked about like how much they didn't like the first one, but they really did. But you do wonder like the logic behind it's kind of like what we were talking about before we started hitting recording, how like an experience while you're watching something can change the way. I mean, it can, everything about your feelings on a movie or a show or a song or a book. There's other influences besides just the general concept of consuming media, right? So it's all things that go into that as well. So
Absolutely.
I will not be paying to see it in theaters, but I'll wait till it's on streaming and then I'll watch it.
Yeah, and it's going to be such a short run in theaters too. It's not like Terrifier 2 where that kept getting extended and extended. Like I think it's
because
just
it was making bukus of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be on streaming real fast. I think the first one went to streaming really quick too. But we'll see. I mean, whether or not you like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or whether or not you like, Late Night with the Devil, which you should. It's so good.
I can't wait to see that. So close. Couple weeks, 2 weeks, a week.
Yeah, it'll be streaming real fast. And I didn't realize, and you had told me a couple of times that people were being able to see it. And I'm like, no, it's coming on Shudder. Like
it had theatrical releases.
Yeah, I could have sworn it was just like, in like
I thought
out
so
of
too.
US they were seeing it, and then Shudder here. But I was like, I saw it on the app. I was like, let me just look. And I was like, okay, yeah, you're right. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, egg on my face. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And then, by the time this comes out, Lisa Frankenstein's going to be on Peacock. So I'll have finally seen it.
Yes.
Counting down the days. I'm so excited to watch that. And I'm just so excited to watch it. And been waiting and waiting.
Dan saw it before me. He just went on his own to do like a little like me time solo movie.
And he went and saw it.
He went and saw it and he loved it.
Yeah. I have zero doubts how much I'm going to love that. And I know it's not on the docket, but I need to say it on a recorded line. I am really, really hyped about The Crow. I finally watched the trailer today for the first time. I kind of put it off because I think I'm going to love it regardless. But the trailer solidified, I'm going to love this movie. It got me so good. I'm just like the type of trailer where you're just like I was just gawking at it and I had tears in my eyes by the end of it. And anyway, I just need to get that in. Super pumped about this movie. Cannot wait to see it. I will be butts and seats to see this one.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think you and I both. I mean, we are definitely excited for this on this channel. Guys, I know I talked about it in the last episode. I'm definitely now no blind sort of nostalgia for the original and just this is one of those remake. I don't want to call it a remake because it's just a readaptation. Because the original isn't just a movie; it's a comic, So,
what's crazy is Scott and I are covering The Crow. It'll come out, I think, the month before the movie releases. We're covering that on Voices with the U-Run, and we talk about how much we love it, but how we also understand that we don't love it because it's a great film. We love it because of this reason. Just watch. You guys will have to watch the episode when it comes out. But it was an interesting conversation because that is why I think a lot of people love it. I don't think it's necessarily like I think if you go back and you watch it as a film by itself without all of the associations, it's different. But I think this is going to be so good. I can't. Yeah, I told Scott, I was like, I'm glad this is going on your channel. A bunch of negative things.
Yeah, Scott can get the flack.
And the other thing I was going to say is, so our friend Chris and our friend Scott have both read the comics and have both seen the original. Scott says that The Crow is nothing like the comics, the original, but Chris says that it's to the T. And I'm like, well, now I don't. I mean, we're gonna read them and discuss eventually, but I just thought that was interesting that two people who have consumed both pieces of the media. One says it's not even a faithful adaptation, whereas this one will be. But Chris was like, no, it was like a perfect adaptation. And I'm like,
so I guess it's sort of, what are the parameters do we count as a perfect adaptation? Is it something that faithfully carries the spirit of the story, or are we talking panel by panel, just doing
step by step? Yeah, because because for Scott it was missing characters, and that bothered him.
Okay.
So it may be you're exactly that super, but see, that's what makes it so wonderful when you talk about your difference of opinions, because everybody looks at shit differently. So
yeah, because Dr. Sleep is missing a character that I loved in the book, but
I haven't read the book.
I still would say it's a great movie. It's a great adaptation. The book had a grandmother character for Abra.
Okay.
She's mentioned in the movie, but she's not in the movie.
She's not like
but she's sort of a connection almost in a way that like Dick Halloran is for
it's kind of missing that, I think.
Yeah, it sort of was like she kind of knew that Abra was special, and there was like this connection there, and which would have been really nice. And it was really nice in the book, but I think there was so much to cover, because they were also taking loose ends from The Shining and sort of fixing that and sort of bringing the two together. So there was a lot of legwork the movie had to do. So I'm like, I'll forgive them the one character cut.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I know we have a nice little lineup of TV and movies and news to talk about.
Yeah. So we're trailers. It's a trailer heavy episode. We finally, like literally right before recording this, got the trailer for Them, The Scare. If you're not familiar with them, it was meant to be an anthology series, but it's been years since they've done it. So the first season was about this African-American family that moved into a white neighborhood, and a bunch of just really crazy stuff happens. It's an Amazon Prime show. I just recently watched the first season by a recommendation of Chris, our friend Chris, who rewatched it a couple months back and like would not stop raving about it. And I had seen images of one of the characters, and I was like, I need to finally watch it. I watched it. I was obsessed with it. Like, I was like, it was so good. And Chris and I talked about the fact, like, oh, there's like supposed to be more, but like there was no news about it. And then all of a sudden, like recently, they've been like, oh yeah, like they're going to do another season. So it's an anthology series. As far as I saw, I think the only returning character is the mom from the first season. For people who have seen it, that's the only character, which is, that's good enough for me, because she was a badass. I loved her like so much in the first season. And so this is a short synopsis. Detective Dawn Reeve investigates the gruesome murder of a foster home mother in 1990s Los Angeles. And that, it comes out April 25th. So Steve, you got time to,
I'm going to watch it because it's an anthology. I guess you don't really need to watch the original, but
but I think you should anyway.
Well, I know I need to. It has been on my list for so long.
It's good.
And the trailer's intense, and I also sort of this feels like, I don't know if this monkey paw have anything to do with this, because this also feels very like socially conscious horror in the way that Jordan Peele does horror.
Yep.
I don't know if monkey paw is part of it, but it has that sort of Get Out vibe and
it does,
and especially because this is taking place in 90s Los Angeles, so this is right around the Rodney King riots. And the protests.
It shows them, doesn't it? There's protest in the trailer, so I don't know.
I think it's really sort of on the heels of the early Black Lives Matter movement. Even though they weren't saying those words, that's really what.
But
that's what that's really what the core of what it was. So it's really interesting that there were going to be we're going to be investigating this sort of supernatural murder spree of sorts going on while all this other stuff is happening in the background
in the world.
It's really intense.
It
looks like it's pretty brutal.
It's like the combination of the crime mystery side and then like the supernatural brutality side too. Like,
Mhm.
I think it looks like it's gonna be, I will tell you this, there's some weird like supernatural components to the first show as well. So, and that was one of my favorite things about it was the ability for it to blend those so seamlessly together for one
Mm.
fluid motion of a show. And
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to be the same. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of those type of, the trailer itself, the only scenes that really make sense are the ones where we see her like looking as an investigator, like where she's going as the detective, like she goes
Yeah.
under the rope under the tape, and she goes and she's doing these different things. But then there's like these other clips of other people doing things that don't necessarily make sense yet. And
Yeah.
that really excites me because as we've both discussed, like we really hate when trailers just like give too much away. And I don't think this
Oh,
did
yeah.
that. It literally gave us the description of the show, and that was it. Like it didn't give us anything else.
That's it. Yeah. I was trying to see if I recognize any of the actors.
Yeah, the only one I
outside of-
recognize is the detective. She was the mom in the
She
first.
was in the first season. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh,
she
right.
just,
Well, Pam Grier is in it. So Pam Grier was
oh
in
yes.
Foxy Brown, Jackie Brown. Has done a lot. But those were sort of the two there. But and then who else? Oh, yeah, I don't know if you Wayne Knight, Newman from Frasier, Dotson from Jurassic Park. We got Dotson here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that guy.
Him. Oh, he's a. Oh,
He's
okay.
in it.
That's
He's a
interesting.
lieutenant in it. That's why I saw him real fast, and I was like, "Oh wait, yeah."
Was he in the trailer? I feel like I would have recognized him.
Quick. It was so
It was
quick.
so fast.
I only recognized it by the voice, and then I sort of forgot to like confirm that it was him. But then because I'm on the IMDb now. But yes, it was Wayne Knight.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel like I recognized one other person, but maybe it was Pam Grier that I was thinking of. Maybe that's who I recognized.
Yeah, I recognize. There's a lot of newer faces that I hadn't seen before
Mm-hmm.
for this one. But yeah, I mean, it looks really good though. I am super pumped. This will be one I watch as soon as it's available. Amazon. Does Amazon do episodic releases or
They usually do heavy front load weekly after.
and then weekly? Okay, so
yeah.
I probably won't watch any of it until it's all out.
Yeah, they usually, I feel like they do, because we just started watching another Apple, because Apple does the same thing. Sorry, I'm thinking, but Apple and Amazon tend to do the same thing, where they'll do 2 or 3 in the beginning, and then.
Yeah, was Rings of Power like that?
Yes.
I don't remember. Oh, you know what? We probably didn't watch it. I'm like that. I'm part of the binge culture. Like I can't wait.
You can't wait.
I can't wait. So I'll probably won't
in a
watch
sense,
it.
you kind of are waiting.
Well, sure.
But
But
you're,
not like-
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then I can watch all of it at one time versus having to wait. Like I was like furious when HBO like released that they were doing Last of Us. I was like, I was so mad. Like
It
so
depends
mad.
on the show, I think. I think if
It
it's
does. It's not. Yeah, it's not everything. Yeah.
not everything can be bingeable, because I think there's some shows where I really feel like I need to sit and digest what just happened. Like I'm thinking some of the heavier shows.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant yeah. I mean, no.
And then I think some lighter shows, like like try like Game of Thrones. Like I don't think I could sit there and watch 3 back-to-back Game of Thrones. I think I would need to, similar to Rings of Power. I think I would just need to be like, okay, that's a lot.
Oh, God, no. We watched all of Rings of Power did not take us very long to get all the way through. But I will say it's not like I'm watching all of them in one sitting anyway, regardless, because I'm an adult. I have responsibilities. But like The Last of Us would have hurt a lot because it's very emotional. But yeah, I hated waiting. It drove me nuts. I hated it. And so I'll probably wait for them to be all the way out before I watch the rest of it.
You got to be like me and Dan, where we just have so much to watch that you almost don't even realize you're waiting, because you're like, Monday.
See, and I'm not, yeah. And meanwhile, I can't find anything to watch. That's how I ended up watching that random alien found footage movie yesterday, because I was like, I don't know what to watch. I mean, I'm working through the franchises that we're going to do this summer, but those are my at work watches, like when I'm at home, I want to watch something that not that I want to watch, I don't want to watch the franchises, but you know what I mean? It's different. That's like homework.
Right.
is
No,
different.
absolutely. When you're sitting to really enjoy something too, it's a little different than when you're sort of like, well, especially if it's something you've watched already and you're just trying to really refresh a little bit of what's going on. It's
Yeah.
also a little bit different. But all right. So our next trailer is the first Omen. So yeah, they just released a new trailer giving us a little bit more of the storyline and how they're going to show. Like the first teaser we got from this was very stylistic. If I remember, it was sort of playing backwards a little bit. It was a little more
Yeah.
stylish. I don't think they gave away too much in this at all comparatively. So just to kind of just jog everyone's memory. So the synopsis for this is: a young American woman is sent to Rome to begin a life of service to the church, but encounters a darkness that causes her to question her faith and uncovers a terrifying conspiracy that hopes to bring about the birth of evil incarnate. Sounds very familiar, but we're kind of sort of getting it from almost like a little bit of a Rosemary's Baby sort of perspective here. I mean, we get the obvious nods of "this is all for you," but it's sort of shot a little different. It
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily feel like we're retreading for retread's sake. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think I care about this movie.
Yeah, that's totally
I
fair.
I am really tired of pregnant movies. Like I just am.
Yeah.
I'm tired of them. I think that they're beaten to death. Like, and the thing is like I found it annoying that it was like the same thing of like, oh, this is all like I was like, I'm telling you, like
Yeah.
when I watched did we get to talk about the teaser trailer? No, you and Norin talked about the teaser trailer.
I don't remember. Now it's been
I
so.
don't think it was me, but so I remember watching
my-
it and thinking it looked cool from us, like you said, like it's very stylistic, but conceptually I was like, don't care. And I pretty much
Yeah.
feel the same way now. I'm like, okay, girl gets pregnant. It's the Antichrist. We got to stop it. I don't care. Like, I'm so tired of movies like this.
Yeah.
And then you've got, because on the coattails of this, you've got Immaculate.
Right.
Or I guess it's technically on the coattails of
Oh,
Immaculate.
but Immaculate came first, I guess. Yeah.
Immaculate's technically first. But it's like, that's
Right.
so bad. Like, I really feel like they should have waited or done something different to be coming
I
out about
know.
the same time, because it's not the same thing, but it's the same thing. Like, I think
Same thing.
Immaculate looks to be different as far as like what it's going to be about. But I'm just
Yeah.
not excited about the first Omen. I'm just not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not like an Omen stan to begin with. Like,
No, me neither.
You
Maybe
know.
that's part of it. Maybe the people who genuinely love the Omen are like, bam.
mhm.
But I am not. I mean, the Omen is fine. I mean, kids are creepy.
Yeah. But
There's
how
the
you do something
dog. The
different
dog
is,
is scary, but
I'm
I
telling
just,
you, I'll send you a copy of my Point Pleasant DVDs. You're gonna watch it, and that's how
I
you do
am.
the Antichrist different. You make it a teen girl, and you make it a sort of a soap opera, and it's fun and it's flashy and
sounds good. But you know what I mean? I'm tired of this story. I've seen
Yeah.
it. And I think it's been done the best it's going to be done. But I mean, will I watch it? Yes. I'm just not going to pay to watch it. But now Immaculate has my attention because the Sydney Sweeney is in it.
Mhm.
And I love, she's from Euphoria.
Yeah.
I really, really like her. And I liked the way that this looked. I don't know how to say why I'm interested in one but not the other. But the first Omen to me feels cookie cutter, and Immaculate at least felt a little bit different.
It's also kind of cool that she produced Immaculate. She was
Oh,
like,
sure. She's a bigger, yeah. It's not
she was
just
like, I want to make this movie, and it's kind of cool to see like what is it about the movie creatively that she was so like adamant, like I want to do this horror movie, like this is
Yeah.
cool, like it feels sort of like it sounds like it felt pretty empowering her to sort of take the creative reins from it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just not excited about the first Omen.
Totally fair enough. Maybe it'll come
Yeah.
around and surprise us all and be like, oh, okay.
Maybe,
now
hey,
there's-
you know what? I'm open to that. I'm still going to give it a chance. I'm just not. It's kind of like Night Swim, which I still have not convinced myself to watch because I'm just like, I mean, I don't. Do I want to sit through a 2-hour movie about this? No, like I don't.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I felt about that, and that's kind of how I feel about this. But we'll see.
And now I still got to watch Imaginary, which apparently is not great. So
I predict this. Okay, I haven't watched it yet either, but here's my prediction. I'm going to absolutely love it.
you might.
I think I will. Granted, everybody's been posting pictures of the beast or the bear, so I now know completely what he looks like, which is annoying. But I'm still very excited because I love monster stuff. Like, I don't care how stupid it is. If it's monsters, I love it, and this looks fun.
Yeah, no, it very well could be.
I think I'm gonna really like it. I know everybody else is like, ugh, but I'm so excited to watch it. I think it's gonna be so good.
I know is it VOD now? I don't know if it's streaming for free anywhere, but I think
It's not.
VOD.
You can purchase or you can pay for it right now.
Right. It's yeah. Yeah. So that's the first Omen, and that is unexcitedly coming out. I don't
That's such a bummer. I'm sorry.
April 5th. So soon, next week.
This next
Angel
week.
will not be in theaters for that one.
Yeah.
To be fair, I probably won't either. I'm probably not going to run out to see it. Although I don't really know how much competition it's got for my dollar. I'm trying to think, or my A-list ticket. I'm trying to think of a lot of overlapping horror, not at the moment.
No, because Godzilla and Kong is this weekend.
That's true. I'll probably see that in theaters before I see that.
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're going today when this comes out to see it.
Yay!
We are
Fun,
making
fun, fun.
tie-dye Godzilla and Kong shirts to wear to the theater.
Oh, that's cute. That's so fun.
Yeah. I'll post pictures and videos. Yeah, I'm not gonna be a bummer the whole episode. I really just am not excited about the first Omen.
Okay.
But yeah, so the next trailer was we're getting some Shawnee Smith horror, which is for the film Bloodline Killer, which is video on demand April 26th. Bloodline Killer is a terrifying horror thriller that follows Moira Cole, who endeavors to rebuild her shattered life after the murder of her family at the hands of her deranged and obsessed cousin. So this in the trailer, we get an incident that happens by a masked killer. We're followed a year later on Halloween. And, they're trying to stop him again. Sound familiar?
With a couple of tweaks here and there, it sounds pretty familiar.
Yeah. But it does look good. The mask and stuff looked good. It looked like it's going to have some intense slashery moments, lights flickering, people not knowing what the sounds that they're hearing. I mean, it looks like, it could be really good. It
doesn't look like it's going to be a boring movie, right?
No,
I would agree. Fun.
Yeah.
And I think this was filmed in my neighborhood.
Stop. Really?
Yeah, because the second or third shot, there's a bridge.
Yeah.
That's the bridge I take all the time to go to the other side of the Hudson River.
How cool is that?
So I think this movie was shot in Westchester. If not, they used a drone just to get like outside shots, and maybe they filmed the other side.
Oh, maybe they do stuff like that. Yeah,
I know, yeah, they do that all. They used to when the show Sleepy Hollow was out on Fox or whatever.
Oh yeah,
they didn't film in Sleepy Hollow. They filmed in North Carolina, but they did drone shots and stuff here in Sleepy Hollow. Just to sort of get the the vibe of it and all the streets.
Yeah. Maybe
so they could have done something like that. Otherwise, it's a Westchester movie. I'm going to take it for what it is.
I mean, well, it's got Shawnee Smith in it, which if you're not familiar by the name, because she's one of very few that I just know the name. Most of the time, I don't know who anybody is. It's Amanda from Saw.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, as a Saw fan, I can't not be excited to see her again in something else and playing a completely different character than she did in Saw. Well, as far as we know.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
She
we
could be
don't know
totally deranged and insane, but yeah. But yeah, like, the shots of I love, I will say this about the trailer. I love when films take place at Halloween and they feel like Halloween.
Yeah.
Because a movie that did that for a lot of people, but did not do that for me was Cobwebs. I did not think that there was anything about that movie that felt like Halloween. But in this trailer for this one, it kind of felt Halloween-y. Like you felt like, okay, this is Halloween.
It had
like,
fall vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it reminded me of
sense if it's shot in New York because we get fall vibes very easily here. I don't know where Cobwebs is
I'm
filmed,
so jealous of that. Yeah. Whereas here we don't have fall.
Yeah. So it's hard. I mean, that sort of like limits you, right? If you want to try to get outdoor fall aesthetic or Halloween, right? You can only have Halloween movies that take place in
upper
Midwest, New England. I guess.
It's true though. I mean, but it's because
Yeah.
otherwise it doesn't feel. I mean, it's kind of like, that's one of the things I love so much about Trick or Treat is the way it's like all encompassing of like Halloween energy. Like you
Yeah.
feel like it's really Halloween no matter when you watch it.
Yeah.
So, but this did feel that way. I did feel like I was like, okay.
Yeah. True. And I mean the cast too. You got Tyrese Gibbons.
I love him.
Yeah, Roman from the Furious movies, but
Mhm.
also, Baby Boy and a lot of other films.
Legion.
Legion, yes. One of your faves.
One of my faves. Four Brothers, which is another one of my faves. That
Yeah.
was the first rated R movie I ever got to see legally. I love him. I think he's
That's
great.
awesome.
He's usually really funny. He's
Yeah.
usually like a comedic,
Yeah, no, not a lot of like comedy in the trailer. I mean, I'm
No,
sure there
he's
will be tension breaking jokes throughout the
he
film.
looks like a pretty serious detective type in this.
Yeah. But and then Taryn Manning, who I'm going on her IMDb because she's so. Oh wait, yeah, it's Pennsatucky from Orange Is the New Black. Do you watch Orange Is the
Oh
New
yes,
Black?
yes. She's like, don't. Yeah, she's towards the end. I recognized her too.
Yes.
Yes.
So interesting cast and like.
Yeah.
So like it's some people and like I said before we started recording, Bruce Dern, which is Laura Dern's dad, is in this. Like totally bizarre, so some decent like names, especially within the horror community, right? And then for it to be a Tubi movie is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Tubi logo. I was like, okay, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tubi has really grown in popularity. I know, especially amongst us like horror fans too, right? Because it's just got
Yeah.
such a wide library.
That fee is coming though. Just wait. That's what always happens when these
That's the
things
thing. They're gonna
kick
get
off.
so big. They're like, well, now we gotta charge, but it's gonna start with pay for no commercials, and then eventually it'll be you know what I mean? Like it's gonna
shift.
It'll shift. Yeah. But now I need to figure out if they really film this. Does IMDb have filming locations listed? Because I gotta see
Maybe under trivia or facts.
production filming locations, Connecticut. Oh, that's the Coles houses in Connecticut. Okay, so maybe one house in Connecticut. Interesting. Okay, so the three listed on IMDb were just 2 Connecticut locations and Burbank, California. But I swear that bridge is here. So
I mean, you would know. You see it every day.
I see it every day. So
yeah,
interesting. So then it might very well, like I said, be a drone shot that they just like or they had it. They were like, we have this footage of the bridge in New York. Let's use it.
Yeah, we might as well use it.
Yeah. People over at Horror Brains, please comment. If you don't comment, we got your number.
But yeah, Bloodline Killer video on demand. And I guess even though it's made by Tubi, video on demand usually means you got to pay for it. But that's April 26th. So.
Oh wait, you think it's not gonna be free on Tubi? You don't think?
I don't know. So whenever things are listed as video on demand, it usually means you have to pay for them.
You pay, right?
But it may be a pay for, and then maybe a week later it'll be. I'm not sure. I didn't see anything else about an extra release date, but we'll see.
I'll be curious.
Maybe it's mislabeled and it's not video on demand. But usually when stuff's straight to streaming, then it's just streaming on. It doesn't say video on demand.
Right. Interesting.
Video on demand either means $20 or $5, depending on the stage of release it is in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Either way, looking forward to it. Right? Did we say what day that was coming? You said
April 26th.
26. Cool.
Yeah.
And then next we have Alien Romulus, which I'm super stoked for it. So the plot, for anyone who does not know, so while scavenging the deep ends of a derelict space station, a group of young space colonizers come face to face with the most terrifying life form in the universe. So Fede Alvarez, who we know from the Evil Dead remake,
2013,
Don't Breathe, Girl in the Spider's Web, he wrote that one. Fantastic. We love him, and he's really taking it back to basics with this one. Back to basics plus a little bit harder in the horror, interestingly enough.
Looks like it's going to be a little more intense.
Yeah. So back to basics in the sense where it's not going to be, it doesn't look like this Aliens action flick, right? It's not going to be sort
Right.
of like
No.
guns and explosions and blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely taking it into the isolationist horror. It's
Yep.
going to be close quarters, very
Yep.
tight, very creepy,
Oh,
dark,
yeah.
but with like ramped up gore.
Yeah.
What did you think about the trailer?
That scene when there's like 50 million face huggers coming around the corner, I about died. I was like, oh no, like
So
you're
many.
dead. Why are you even running at that point? Just give up.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my God. That scene, I think like it, I think, don't get me wrong. Overall, this looks amazing. I trust it's Ridley Scott too, which I idolize. So I'm super pumped. And obviously we want him involved in alien projects and for obvious reasons. But so like, and I love 2013 Evil Dead. It's the best in the franchise. Just be mad if you want to be mad. But I think that scene though, that is the scene that got me pumped about this movie because that is so scary.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
They just like flood into the hallway and they did a good job because you don't really see the end of them. You just see the start of it, but it made me so uncomfortable. Like I was like, oh no, like, oh, it's going to be so good. I can't wait to see this.
Yeah, no, this is August 16th. This is going to be opening night. If I can opening night.
It's really difficult for me to just go to the movies, but it is one that I am going to try. It's not one that I'm going to make happen, but it's one that I really want to try to make it to because I think it's going to be killer on the big screen. I really, really, really do.
Yeah, I unfortunately never got to see any of the originals in theaters. I think I've seen,
No,
but I
me
have.
neither.
Funny enough, I've seen every Alien movie minus AVP 2 since AVP in theaters. So I guess when Alien sort of had that weird comeback with AVP, right? It's that I saw, and then Prometheus.
I saw the first, same thing. I saw that one, Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think I saw. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever even bothered for AVP 2. I'm sure most people would tell me not to bother with AVP 2.
No, I don't even acknowledge its existence. We can just pretend. It's pretty bad.
I barely even remember AVP. I can't even I don't remember much of what happened in that movie.
I love that movie so much. It's one of my favorites in the franchise.
I have not rewatched it in years.
Oh, it's a constant rewatch for me. I watch it every time it's streaming. I'm not joking.
Really?
I love that one. And I know it's like taboo to say that you like anything other than like the original two as the best, right? But I thought it was just such a fun, and I love Predators. Like I'm such a huge Predator fan too. So I was like, oh, this is a movie made for me. And the ending when he takes the girl with him and he's like, you are with me now. I'm like, that's so cool and stupid at the same time. I love it.
I'm gonna have to give it a rewatch because Fun and Stupid is fine too. I enjoy Fun and Stupid quite a lot.
And to your point, it's very actiony, lots of explosions and fighting, and it's really more sci-fi action than it is sci-fi horror than like the originals, which were first and second, maybe more first, were like atmospheric and they built the tension, and whereas Alien versus Predator is like monsters and guns. Let's go. It's fun. Love that movie.
They've been slowly adding in the horror. Like Prometheus again was more sci-fi action with some creepy elements.
I thought Prometheus had a lot of creepy elements.
So the one I'm thinking about is the Med Bay abortion, which is one of my favorite. That was actually funny enough on your medical live. That was going to be one of my picks.
That was in my notes. I just didn't get to it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't even.
I put alien movies, and then in parentheses, I put specifically the C-section surgery is what I called it. But yes, you're right. It wasn't. Yes, it was a. But that one.
Oh man, that was wild. Yeah, it's such a talk about like claustrophobic horror.
I loved that movie, and the guy Michael Fassbender that played the he just did such a great. I hated his guts. He was great. Yeah. He did such a great. Anyway, I am a huge fan of Prometheus. I know that Alien fans hate it. They get angry when it comes up, but I really liked it. I thought the cast was great. The effects looked good. The atmosphere, I loved it. I thought it was so good.
It was the first thing I think I ever really saw Charlize Theron in, and I fell in love with her. I think she's so good.
The first thing.
I'm trying to remember was she in Monster? She was in
Charlize Theron, she's been in so much. I mean, obviously she's in Mad Max Fury Road.
knew it was her by name, maybe. I don't know.
The first thing I ever saw her in that I knew her by was Italian Job.
Oh, fair
She's
enough.
the daughter.
I'm
Anyway,
bad.
she's
I
great.
know. And I'm
I
a
love
film
her.
lover too. I don't know.
But no, I'm super pumped about Romulus.
Yeah.
It's one I'm going to try really hard to make it to theaters. But if I don't, it's one I would pay the $20 to watch at home when
Yeah.
it comes out. So
And it's a nice late August horror. Like
Mhm.
I feel like late August horror was that was the time too. I don't know if we always get late August ones nowadays. Maybe we do. I'm trying to remember. Like late August, September, right? I think was always
It's
around that time.
yeah, that's usually when you start to see the uptick
The
for it.
ramp
Yeah.
up, right?
Yeah, but this is I think that's a great time for this to come out,
Perfect.
honestly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
And plus
yeah.
it's
And,
like
and it's actually it comes out like the week and a half before my birthday, so maybe I'll get some Italian for my birthday. But
birthday present. There you go.
yeah, I am genuinely pumped about this. I've been waiting on news for it for the longest, and we got the name finally, and then like the
Mhm.
same day that we got the poster, we got the trailer, and then that was
Oh,
what
yeah.
bumped the Beetlejuice trailer. I'm pretty sure to the next day they were like, nope, not competing with that, and they held
No.
off because they were supposed to release on the same day,
Yeah.
and then randomly Beetlejuice was the next day, and I was like, that's probably smart. I get it.
Fair enough. Well, we didn't put that on our list to cover. I know you did a short reaction to it.
Yeah.
But we could talk about that at the end if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Alien Romulus, August 16th. Will they hear you scream in space this time? I don't know.
I love that the description is the same description of every alien. A bunch of people in space come across something scary. It's like-
That's all you need. That's all I need in these movies.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure.
We don't need some crazy cloning.
No, we
plots
don't
and-
want that. Yes, don't give us that. We don't want the information.
I mean,
Keep it to
Prometheus
yourself.
got weird and fine, sure. In terms of like,
Yeah.
creationism and whatever. But
Yeah.
what they did to poor Ripley. I don't think we don't need any of that.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next trailer, I think we're probably both very excited about.
Yes. That's what I mean. We got confirmation of some returning characters for sure in this.
Oh my God. Okay, so
Yeah.
yes. So so the next trailer, before I totally even forget to say what it is, because I had so much to say about the returning character. So Steve and I are big fans of Jurassic World's Camp Cretaceous, which is a kid story, but it's so good. It's animated, and we've talked about it before. The representation, we've talked about the relationship dynamics. We've talked about, it's a phenomenal show. And I've been watching it for years at this point, because my little and I watch it together. And when there's a new season, we're like, oh, let's go, But so the new season, it's like a spin-off it's like its own thing, but it's a spin-off of Camp Cretaceous, is a new series called Chaos Theory, which comes out on Netflix May 24th. And essentially it takes place 6 years after we last saw them, which it does one of the things I love about the show is it does a really great job of lining up with the timeline for the movies.
Yeah.
And this is continuing that. So this is into the Dominion timeline where dinosaurs are running rampant everywhere. And the only two characters we've seen that we know for sure, because I haven't looked at anything that I know of based off the trailer that's going to be there, is Darius and Ben.
Yeah.
What did you do? Like, what was your reaction when you realized it was Ben?
Oh, it was just a big just awe. Like, so sigh of relief too. My heart was like, because he's such a sweetheart. And I'm like, well, now we need Lumpy. No,
yeah,
Bumpy. I say Lumpy. Bumpy.
Same difference. Synonyms. Yeah, no, Ben was one of my favorite characters. I remember pretty early, this show's been out for a while, but pretty early when he falls off the train, there's like that one part. I remember being devastated.
Yeah.
On a first watch, like his connection with Bumpy the dinosaur and just like who he becomes. He has one of my favorite arcs.
Little fighter.
He's so great, but he's massive.
Yeah,
he's like taller than Darius, and he's like super buff. And
yeah, that was the survivor in him. I feel like part of his arc will probably be like, I'm imagining PTSD, and like because they kind of cover that a little bit with Yes.
Yes,
PTSD in the
with
show,
her
right?
bad dreams about the dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna retread with a PTSD story, but I feel like probably because of his
Mhm.
experience, he feels like he has to keep up physically to survive. I feel like that's gonna be part of his
Part of his arc,
his
because
arc, you know.
the storyline for this is Ben shows up on Darius's front door and tells him, people are hunting us, and I'm not sure why. And it's supposed to be related to their time on the island and what they went through. But that's all that it's really given us, which is fine. I don't need more. But I am genuinely like, I had goosebumps the whole time I was watching. Like, I
Yeah.
really, really love this show. And I am really, really excited that we're getting more of it, because I loved what they did with it, and the way they chose to end it, I thought was great.
Yeah.
But I want more. And I think that this little spin-off thing, because I don't think we know if it's going to just be like a mini thing, if it's going to, I don't know.
I mean, it
But
seems just like sort of like I've been in my head. I've just been calling it a sequel. It just feels like sort of the next thing for it,
yeah.
right?
But do you
But
think it's going to be like multiple seasons though? Or do you think it's going to be
I
just kind
hope
of a,
so.
I hope so too, because I really loved what they did with that
There's a
show.
lot
Like
of stuff to fill in, like the gaps with,
yes.
because there's because
Mhm.
this isn't after Dominion. This is between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. So this is
And
sort of
Dominion.
like
Yeah.
in that little gap there while the world is just getting used to dinosaurs. Like, because by the time we get
Mhm.
to Dominion, people are pretty like not used to
Yeah,
it,
they're
but
just like, oh, what a nuisance. Yeah.
right. It's sort of becoming like, okay, this is the
Whereas
new
this
world
is
now.
still survival
Yeah,
mode, because
people are
Darius
like,
it opens the door with an electric prodder thing.
yeah, like this is like, you're just camping and then boom, dinosaur outside. Like
Mhm.
now by Dominion, people just weren't camping because they were
That's
like, well,
true,
there
because
could be
they
a
knew
dino
there's
out
gonna
there.
be dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that, the trailer kind of focuses on them talking about, like, they show Darius when he says, like, when they're like, "Oh, how did you do it? How did you make it all this time?" And he's like, "Because we had each other." But then the
hmm
only two that we see are Ben and Darius, and I'm like, "Oh, what does that mean?"
So that means that so they either all aren't in there or it's the season is. So this is why I think it might be multiple seasons. The
Mhm.
first season might be them getting the gang back together, right?
I think that's what's gonna be the case.
It's going to be like
I
every couple episodes, someone is joining back.
Yeah. Because Brooklyn is the voiced by
So yeah, Jenna Ortega, who I don't
Jenna
think is coming
Ortega.
back for this.
Yeah.
I think she's too big, unfortunately, to do an animated show. Plus Wednesday and all that stuff.
I hope that you're wrong, because it's going to be really difficult for me if they're not all back.
I know.
And
Some
with
people are
voice
really good at
acting,
mimicking voices, though. So
yeah, that's true.
you
We'll
know.
see. I don't know. I tried to watch, what was that movie? They did the Atlantis movie. The Lost
Oh yeah.
Atlantis Lost City. Well, then they did like the sequel.
Oh, and it
And
wasn't.
instead of Matthew Broderick to play Milo, they had somebody that was like Gilbert Godfrey or something crazy. And I was like,
Well,
this,
that's a
I
big
am not
difference.
watching this. You know what I mean? So it's like, so the voice acting really does matter, but if
I
it's
mean, if you're using
close,
Gilbert Gottfried for someone, then for sure. Although rest in peace. I think he passed not too
but
long
you
ago.
get my point. I was using it as an extreme
Right.
I wanted
Matthew
Milo.
Broderick.
I wanted Milo. I got what is Iago.
We're in Atlantis. I can't. I'm done. I'm gone. I'm out of
Oh
it. Can
my
you tell him that?
god.
No, I'm just gonna. No, I was just. I wish I had it. I hired him at one point to just narrate my life.
He is not a voice you can disguise. He can't
No,
come in for anybody. He's got to
no,
only be a character made for him.
I know.
Oh shit, that's funny.
So funny.
But
But
yeah,
yeah,
so
I know what you mean. It's got to be right.
it does. It's or it'll ruin the entire thing. Like, I would rather not have Brooklyn than to have her come back and it be somebody like
I mean, you could
crazy.
easily write her out anyway. I mean, I
Yes.
adored Brooklyn, but I don't think you. I mean, she wasn't always. I wouldn't say she's like the emotional heart of the show, right? I
No.
mean, Darius, Ben, Yaz, and Sam. I
Yep.
mean, the people and oh, what's his name? The other one.
Ben oh my god.
I can't remember his name. The rich kid.
Kenji. It was driving me crazy.
Yeah. I'd be okay without Kenji too, actually. I mean, because I really feel like Ben, Darius, Yaz, and Sam were sort of like they really had most of like the meatier emotional stuff.
I agree. I just need it done in a way that makes sense though. Otherwise
Yeah,
it'll be like too obvious that they couldn't get the people to do
fair
it,
enough.
you know. But yeah, so Chaos Theory comes out on Netflix May 24th. And I will be watching it probably that whole weekend.
Well, yeah, well, the Netflix model, permits you can binge this one.
That you can binge. That's right.
And then our last trailer is
Oh,
another
yeah.
Nicolas Cage horror gem coming out,
Mhm.
called Arcadian. So a father and his twin teenage sons fight to survive in a remote farmhouse at the end of the world.
Oh,
This looks really intense. I was saying like this feels like a sort of like a lower budget, quiet place, and not
yes.
in a bad way.
Mhm.
It just feels it's a little bit smaller.
Mhm.
Um, but it looks creepy. Looks like it's a little more
Mhm.
because I never really found the aliens per se to be particularly scary in A
No.
Quiet Place. I mean,
Mhm.
they were intense situations and suspenseful,
It was circumstantial. Yeah.
circumstantially scary, but I
Yes.
think
I
we didn't
agree.
get to see much of the creatures in this trip. So, which leads me to believe that I feel like they're going to go for a little more of the scares here.
They look like werewolves.
Did I not see much of it then?
No, they just look furry.
They
And
look furry. Oh, okay.
my
Okay.
brain is like, ooh,
Werewolves.
werewolves. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's what they are, but movie of the year if it is. I'm just saying,
A
like,
werewolf like apocalypse. That would actually be pretty wild, right?
wouldn't it? And I haven't seen it done before.
No, and it could. I mean, so the poster is like almost like a claw
Claws.
scratch, right?
Yep. And I noticed in the trailer when he's looking at that door, it looks like claws, like a wolf or a dog has been scratching. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do this to myself. Stop it. I'm not going to do this to
Just don't
myself.
promise yourself a werewolf apocalypse.
I'm not going to do that.
As
But
amazing as that would be,
it
actually.
definitely frames it like an alien movie because it's like, oh, they came because he talks about pollution and then he says
Mhm.
something about them coming for like the end of the world. And first of all, Nicolas Cage in horror, like just yes, 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 yes. Like
Yeah.
yes.
So I was trying to see if there was clue. I didn't honestly know what the proper definition for Arcadian was, which is just ideal rural paradise, which
Yeah.
makes sense. So I
Mhm.
was trying to be like, was there sort of a hint there?
Maybe they're like ancient creatures that aren't really anything in particular we've already seen before. Maybe they're their own thing, but they looked brown and furry, and I'm hopeful.
Mm.
But
So a
either
native
way,
of
though,
Arcadia
I think
in
it's I'm all here for a monster movie of any kind because I love monster movies.
I'm doing like a crazy deep dive though. I'm sorry. I was looking at So Arcadia
Mhm.
is Greek. It's in
Yeah.
Greece. Now I'm trying to think. Is there any local Greek legend about Arcadia?
Oh, maybe they're like little Nubuses.
Oh, you know what's really funny? That almost. So is this just all of Greece? Because it actually looks like a paw print upside down. That's very funny. Oh,
Oh.
I'm gonna, the whole total deep dive. Is this all of Greece or is this Arcadia itself? Because otherwise it just looks like
Mhm.
okay, so Arcadia is
Mhm.
sort of an island. This is a hard deep dive. It's
Mhm.
an island off of Greece. I don't know. It's sort of connected, so maybe it's more like a peninsula, but really kind of looks like an island. Actually, looks like a paw print upside down,
Oh, please. I want it to be werewolf so
which is
bad.
very funny.
But I think either way, this looks like a really intense. I've talked about this before. I love when the dynamic is something other than a romantic dynamic. So
Oh
I
yeah,
love that it's like his dad and his two kids. Because even though War of the Worlds was Tom Cruise and it probably would have been better with pretty much literally any other actor, I loved that it was father kids versus romantic or,
Mhm.
like And so I love that dynamic of them switching off from survival to fight, which is not always the same thing. And it goes from keeping quiet and trying to avoid danger to like, we can't keep doing this anymore.
Yeah.
This looks super intense. It looks super fun. And I'm just going to cross my fingers and toes and my eyeballs that it's werewolves. But if it's not, that's okay too. Because either way, it's a monster movie.
Not to tease you more.
You're about to make it worse. What is
I'm
it?
about to make it worse because in mythology, Arcadia was a mysterious place full of mythical creatures living in, such as nymphs, nature spirits, dryads or tree spirits, centaurs, half-human, half-horse warriors, or other non-human beings, including several gods and goddesses. So it could be sort of this like half sort of beast situation. That's sort of what it was always all about. So anywho, deep dives.
Definitely,
I went down that rabbit hole. Live here.
Definitely a monster movie either way, and it looks really, really good, and I'm very excited about it.
Sorry about that deep dive. That was a live rabbit hole, sort of just unfurling.
Okay.
I got real excited.
Yeah,
Like
I'm excited for this one though.
Yeah, no, it looks really fun.
Soon, right?
April 12th.
Yeah, theaters only.
I think so, but it's probably going to be more of a limited release. I saw the trailer for this during Late Night with the Devil, so I feel like a lot of the trailers I saw during that were just sort of limited, smaller horror films.
Okay, well,
so
I'm excited.
It could be a quick turnaround.
I'm excited. I'll be wanting to see it.
I mean, less than a month away. April 12th, not far.
Yeah, a couple weeks. Yeah.
So now that brings us into news, and you've got a doozy apparently, one that I have not been following.
Yes. So there's a bit of some noise going on in the paranormal investigation world. Don't worry, we're not going to be talking about Zach from Ghost Adventures because who cares? But there is the movie The Conjuring. Many, many people will know this already. There is a house. That is the house where the Perron family lived. And that's the house that's The Conjuring, the film, is based off of. Very loosely so. The Conjuring house has had multiple owners since the film has been released, and the owners always let people pay to stay there, to do paranormal investigations, to do whatever they want to do, to be like, oh, I stayed at this spooky house. So some background, there was a documentary done called No Sleep or Less Sleep or something. And essentially it was these paranormal investigators who did a documentary of their stay at the Conjuring house. I did my thoughts on this documentary on Facebook back when I used to do reviews before I was like full on YouTube and many, many moons ago. And I had a lot of problems with this investigation. They were not respectful of the concept of ghosts. They were very over the top. They stole stuff from the house. There's a lot of stuff they clearly like were lying about or not being honest about. And so I had a lot of problems with that documentary. Well, there's these two guys. Let me pull up my information here. There's these two guys who just recently did one. And they went in, they did an investigation, like I think it was maybe a couple of months ago. And it's like, oh man, if Al watches this episode, they're going to be really disappointed in me for not knowing this. But but these two YouTubers went and did a stay there, and they're like, okay, we're going to do our own investigation, and they had people come with them, and it was like this whole thing, and they did this YouTube video about it, and it was a big deal. So it is, let me see, what are their names? Sam and Colby. They're these young guys that do paranormal investigating. So recently their investigation of the Conjuring house got kind of blown up. There is a horror Let's Player named John Wolf that I follow that covered their footage and broke it down to talk about how absolutely absurd it was. Now, John is a non-believer. He's what you would call a skeptic. Angel is a believer. I'm not really a skeptic. I'm a skeptic in investigators, but I'm not a skeptic in the concept of the afterlife and there being things like that. Afterlife, that's probably stretched, but like, you know what I mean? Ghosts and stuff. So recently, I've got this bookmarked on Twitter. So recently, the people who currently own the Conjuring house, because once this Sam and Colby video got blown out of proportion and people were like losing their minds over it, there were a lot of people that were like talking about how fake it was and how, the Conjuring House isn't haunted and these people are milking it and blah, blah, blah. So
Right.
they released this statement. It's kind of long, so I'm going to read fast. To the paranormal community, many of you have dedicated your lives to exploring locations in the hopes of capturing evidence of spirit existence. Recognize they go on to talk about paranormal activity and how paranormal investigators want to get it and capture it and blah, blah, blah. Your evidence is much more suspect than the physical evidence that is heard by all when they have experienced the method by Cody and Satori. These are other paranormal investigators involved in this whole thing. I ask you to consider the ramifications on our field by participating in destroying the reputation of people who are doing their honest best to capture authentic evidence. It hurts us all. To the disbelievers and the debunkers, you have passed your opinions and personal narratives off as facts. This includes Mythos Paranormal and Bad to the Bone Paranormal. They called out multiple paranormal groups that said that their shit's not real. There have been threats made, cyberbullying captured, and proof of your lies collected by many who have witnessed your actions. You are prudent to take note that your slanderous claims and defaming lies are illegal. Mostly, I am addressing you to tell you that TCH does claim, does not care about you, the Conjuring House. You are not our market, and you represent less than 10% of people that have engaged with us. To the paranormal enthusiast and paranormal curious, you are who we care about. We encourage you to continue your explorations into the spirit existence to see what's awesome experiences await for you. Of course, we want you to visit, blah, blah, blah. Do not ever allow anyone to get you to doubt or disbelieve the spiritual or paranormal experiences that have impacted your lives or belief systems. You are entitled to your belief systems, and so you should embrace them. So they basically were like, if you don't believe in ghosts and you don't think this is real, F off, basically. So I follow a Twitter person named Alex that commented on their post. And said, the Conjuring House, has any data been released placing microphones at Cody's feet and other locations around the house to confirm that the sound isn't coming from his feet? So Colby and Satori are the paranormal investigators that those other two guys used back in the one I was talking about. One of the things that they are saying can be true is there is a method where you put some type of device in your foot and it controls noises in multiple places. And you can project these noises or make these noises sound like they're coming from somewhere else. This is a proven, debunked paranormal activity thing, or a paranormal investigator thing. It is proven that this exists and that people use it to fake experiences. That's proven. Right. So one of the things that came up in those videos was, oh my God, you can hear that. Do you hear that? And it's that kind of stuff. I'll link John's breakdown of it because I think his breakdown is perfect. Like it really breaks into the stuff of like a lot of stuff. I won't go into that because then we'll be here all night. But if so, I would love to see it. If it doesn't, or even if it does, I'd suggest another round and bring in a neutral party who doesn't know Cody and Satori or the house to do the recording. I recommend either, and then she listed some people. I think it could really be an effective way to validate their abilities while addressing the concerns so many have. Vibration sensors would be a good addition too. The Conjuring House replied, Alex, I agree that it would be fantastic to have reputable scientific researchers studying the continuity of consciousness to come to the Conjuring House with an objective intent to control for variables and measure activity, analyze it for known statistical probabilities that any evidence is not fraudulent or something else. But I'm thinking scientists who publish in scientific journals for such a study. There are college researchers, Harvard-educated professors, neuroscientists, medical doctors, and PhD psychologists doing a deep dive on research demonstrating the continuity of consciousness. Of paranormal evidence, spiritual evidence is all evidence of our own consciousness continues after death. And so they go on to argue with her, basically saying that, like, we can't... what was the other part of it? Consciousness. I am reaching out to every reputable universities and institutes to find researchers who will come to do a legitimate study, but we will not submit, this is the important part, we will not submit to some half-baked biased efforts from people who have no idea. I gotta find it because it's like screenshots. Okay. From people who have no idea how can to conduct research in a truly scientific method, and who pass off videos showing that they can recreate tapping sounds and then leaping to the conclusion that they're frauds. They've missed many steps to land at that conclusion. Such leaping conclusions do not possess any critical thinking, nor does it constitute any scientific rigor. Someday, Cody and Satori will participate in a study, and it will likely be under the conditions I've outlined above. It will happen. It will be a heck of a publication on a reputable scientific journal. So the owners of this house are upset because people are arguing that this isn't real instead of just embracing it in spirit, and not to be funny, but like instead of just being like, yeah, your experiences, if that's what you experience when you're here, that's great. If you don't believe, that's great. There are other comments where they're going back and forth with people, arguing with them about the fact that ghosts are real.
Right. It's just sort of like two different arguments.
Basically, instead of saying like, because I retweeted one of Alex's things and I was like, I really wish they would just embrace the fun of the concept of paranormal investigation instead of trying to berate and break down people who don't believe or who are skeptics, because they don't welcome them there. If there's anybody they've made that clear, but the video that they're talking about where these two people do all these things, I mean, I could probably do a better job of faking paranormal stuff. Like it's borderline embarrassing. And so when I watch the video, if you get like an hour in the next week or so, you should watch John's video on it. It's actually really interesting. But he taught, like, one of the things that they had was like, our flashlight went off. John bought the same flashlight. And one of the things that happens with the flashlight is there is a button option where the light goes on and off. It doesn't stay on.
Right. The light is like a flickery sort of.
Yeah. It's stuff like that where you can prove that at the very least it's not reliable.
Right.
So they've been arguing with people for like, I think it's been like 2 or 3 days now. It's crazy.
That's so funny. I mean, just to sort of keep the argument going though, but like, well, yeah, it sounds like it became like very different arguments, right? You know, like,
yeah. No, it did.
Yeah. And it got a little out of control there because I mean, that's sort of going to be the debate. Like that's the age-old debate around these sort of investigations to begin with, right?
Anyway,
it's like
yeah.
we debate the validity, we debate sort of just the idea in general of like, you know, but it's also just sort of fun to do, right? Like
they're taking it way too serious, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, Zach from Ghost, I said I wasn't going to talk about Zach. Zach from Ghost Adventures brings on some of the biggest quacks I've ever seen in my life. And it doesn't matter because it's entertainment. And it's okay. Like, you don't have to, if you do believe that the house that you own, that you rent and make a lot of money off of because it's big in the horror community. So you can only benefit from people saying it's haunted. We'll move away from that. But like, it's fine that you do that, but acknowledge the fact that like, it's also going to happen that people are going to make shit up.
Yeah.
Because if I made a video saying I'm going to the Conjuring house, I'm guaranteed to get more views on it.
Yeah. 100%.
And you don't want, and you don't want to be the person that's like, yeah, nothing can happen while I was here. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure that that's what it is. I'm sure that it's a matter of people have gone and they're like, you know, nothing's going on. And nothing, honestly, the documentary I watched is called like No Sleep, or I can't remember what it's called. Nothing happens. Nothing. They don't capture anything.
I mean, because if something were going to happen, you can't make it happen on cue, right?
No. And I am a firm believer that whatever exists in this plane with us does not want us to see things. It does not want us to see. And it's not going to just do things on a whim because you asked it to. So, exactly. But anyway, but it was just this crazy thing because I just watched the John Wolfe video on it. I don't know, like right before my surgery, I think. And to see that now that not John's video specifically, but the people who were a part of the video he was breaking down are now under scrutiny. It's like, but that's because you look and sound stupid. Like you're not proving anything crazy.
Exactly.
And when they're asked to like recreate stuff, they can't. Oh, it's done now. You know, that kind of stuff where it's like, come on. So anyway.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what's hard.
It's
you just sort of have to embrace the fun of it.
Just chill.
Yeah. No, I remember one of our early videos, and I think we were going to maybe re-release it, right? We sort of talked about our own theories and stuff around paranormal. I was just thinking about
honestly, that would probably be a really good live.
That would be a really fun live.
Hmm.
Oh, we should
Just
do
a
that.
thought.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Maybe that can be our April one.
Yeah. Ooh,
We'll do.
that could be really fun. Or, I mean, not if we want to hold it off. It could be really fun around Halloween.
Oh, good point. Yeah, we could wait.
That could be
I
like a
think
really
we
good.
could still also re-release the video too, though,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then just talk about it. Yeah. But yeah,
Some behind the scenes
it's
talk for y'all.
for me. It's like you charge so much money, and they're booked out for like 2 years at a time. So like and it's fine. I'm not mad at you about that. Everybody's got to do their part, to make themselves money. Whatever you got to do, I guess. But
Yeah.
to sit there and like attack people who are just telling you like, I get what you're saying, but like you just basically urinated all over people who are skeptics, who aren't sure, instead of just embracing it for what it is, which is entertainment. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's crazy to me that these people are replying to people. And like, I can't even believe that. Like, you just own a house. Like, stop it. You know what I mean?
Right. You're
It's
not, it's not
weird.
like, no one's like threatening your livelihood. People are still going to go. Right.
And that's what I said in my tweet. I was like, I wish they would let it go. I wish that they would just treat it as is, which is entertainment thing, and realize that just because some people are skeptics or some people say that it's BS, it's not going to change anything, because it's never changed anything. People saying ghosts aren't real has not changed anything about the people who believe in ghosts.
No,
Nothing.
people still drive by the Amityville house no matter what. And that's been going
Yeah.
on for decades.
Yeah, I'm saying like it literally, like, you aren't losing anything. So why engage in the drama? Like, just leave it alone. But
Yeah.
I just thought it was so crazy that it got to that point, because I would have never thought that. Because I feel like if you're going into something like that, you got to expect people to have the opposite opinions. So like, why are
Oh,
you acting surprised? It's weird. Like, and you don't owe us a scientific journal entry. Who gives a crap? Like, just make your money and have the people who want to come stay. As long as they're respectful of the surroundings, they don't break or damage things or threaten or hurt you.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Exactly. When people fear for their wallet, they do crazy things,
You
right?
do, man. What's crazy?
Although
But anyway, I
they're
really
making
wanted
money
to
off
talk
of it.
about it.
But
Yeah.
no, I was
Go
gonna say
ahead.
they want to make money off of it. The Amityville house people don't. They want to be left the F
They're
alone.
like, please leave us alone.
That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. So just want to talk about the Conjuring debacle, because I just couldn't believe it blew up like that. I was like, what is going on right now? Is weird.
Mhm.
Weird.
Weird.
Bizarre.
Fun story though. Interesting. But
It's,
just wild.
it sounds made up, doesn't it?
I feel like you could make a documentary just about this whole back and forth.
Yeah, you could.
Or at least a mockumentary making fun of it.
In found footage style.
That would actually be a really funny movie too. Like people
I think
who
it could be.
own
It's just
a haunted
crazy. Man.
house and rent it out to people. I feel like that
Mhm.
just sort of feels like a good plot for something.
I agree.
But yeah, well, that brings us to our recommendations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you shouting out today?
So I am shouting out a podcast called The Black Velvet Fairies. I know we'll put this in the description, but you can find them on Twitter at B Velvet Fairies. And so I kind of happened upon this on accident. So I don't know if you know who Greg Newkirk is. Newkirk. Speaking of paranormal investigators and things, he does a lot in the paranormal world. So I saw this podcast because he is a guest character. He's playing himself, but it's a fictional story. But it's about this girl who finds, it's only on episode 2, so now's the perfect time to jump in and get interested. The episodes are only like 25 minutes long. So it's about this girl who finds these paintings in her grandmother's attic, I think. And ever since she brought them home, there's been like weird stuff happening. And so she's working through different types of paranormal professionals to determine what it is that's going on with these paintings. But it's told in the format of a podcast, but it's interview style. So she like talks to people and she's talking to them. And like Greg was one of the ones on episode 2 specifically, where she's talking to him about his knowledge. And what he does is he talks about the concept of ghost actually being very, very connected to the lore of fairies. And I've got goosebumps. It's so well done. It's so well done. I listened to the I was dumb and didn't realize it was the second episode, so I had to go back and listen to the first one. But it's only got 2 episodes, and it's just very, very well done. And it's a really cool approach. I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm really bad about keeping up with content that way. I'm more of a video person. But this is one that I highly. They have less than 40 followers on Twitter, and I'm like, how? But I think it's because it's just really, really new.
It's got to pick up steam. Yeah.
Please go follow them. Please go listen to the first 2 episodes. It's a very cool story. And there's some stuff that they add, like they play like an EVP that she got. And then Greg takes it. It's so good. Like it's just, it's so well done. Fun. You got to check it out. And like I said, super short episodes. So they're not very long.
Sounds spooky. I haven't listened to podcasts in a while. I've slowly been re-listening to things, or not re-listening, but getting back into it. I know what you mean.
Going back
when I bring my son to daycare. But because other than that, I don't really have much of a commute, and that was usually when I would listen.
Sure. So I listen to stuff constantly when I'm at work, but I just sincerely whenever we give recommendations, we want you to take them, but like, please take this one. Like if you are a fan of horror, if you have a respect or an appreciation or an interest in paranormal investigation, this is a really cool approach to a fictional podcast. And at least I think it's fictional. Who knows? But it's really, really good. And it's Black Velvet Fairies. And it's on Twitter at Velvet Fairies. Links will be in the description, of course, but I just genuinely was really blown away with it. It was just very good. Very well done.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to give it a listen. I haven't listened. I used to listen to the No Sleep podcast. That was
who doesn't, right? Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I used to listen to that one, and then Welcome to Night Vale was one I listened to for a while.
I wonder if No Sleep podcast is why I thought the name of that documentary was No Sleep. I bet it's not. I bet I was thinking of that podcast, but either way, doesn't matter. Don't watch the documentary. Keep it moving. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
But my shout out or recommendation, or really this is just my space to geek out about the new X-Men. But it's relevant because they did a horror episode this week. That's called Fire Made Flesh, and it's just really exciting because I mean what I always say is, like, especially to people who have like little superhero fatigue, like I always say, give the X-Men a chance because they are so different from your typical like the Avengers, right? Not that there's anything wrong. I love all that, but they're so different because they're so versatile in like what they do. They're very soapy. They can do horror. They can do weird cerebral like stuff.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah,
it's very different. Well, it's also like a big allegory for equal rights, and it's this whole thing.
Oh, sure, definitely.
But they did this whole episode with like cloning, and there was, I mean, they went a lot harder than I thought Disney was going to let them go. There was like body horror and very like Cronenberg-esque creatures and heads coming out of mouths and blood and like really grotesque stuff. And I was like, okay. And like it was really, even if you know nothing about X-Men, give the episode a watch just because it's just so cool.
Sounds good.
The main villain for the episode is Mr. Sinister, and so he's very like Dracula-esque. So like his like main lair is like almost like a castle. So it gets very gothic. Then you have the Goblin Queen, and so she's sort of, not without getting too much spoilery, she's a dark magic user. And there's some real weird trippy stuff. But yeah, essentially she raises demons from hell, and the X-Men have to fight demons, and it's wild.
That's cool. Yeah.
So like
I had no idea.
Horrors everywhere. And yeah, so this is the Inferno arc from the comics for anyone who doesn't know or wants to know.
Okay.
This is the Inferno arc. So real wild stuff. But just gushing about my X-Men.
That's good. No, that's awesome. I had no idea. I have been seeing, I know you did, but I've been seeing people post about it in general, but I didn't hear it. This is the first I've heard anything about the more horror-esque episode, but that's cool.
It just happened Wednesday. And I think they'll go there again because I think Mr. Sinister is supposed to be the main villain of the whole season. So it'll definitely continue to sort of, I think, seep into that. Horror in general comes in and out of X-Men anyway.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's such a great example of how versatile horror can be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one-dimensional like some other genres. Like it can be in so many things. It really can.
I mean, it didn't do well, but we had New Mutants, which was the horror X-Men movie from a few years ago.
Oh yeah, I remember when that came out. I didn't see it, but I remember.
Yeah. So it's just really cool, and I like that we're sort of now in this place with at least superhero content where we can explore genre stuff like that. And people are just like, yeah, that sounds right, and people are just accepting of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my little love fest for my mutants.
Yeah.
So watch it if you like I said, even if you haven't watched X-Men before, but you just sort of love that kind of Cronenberg-y kind of horror, and you are maybe X-Men curious. It's on Disney Plus.
Okay. I think that's gonna wind us down. The Conjuring took a minute, but it was worth talking about. So
that was wild. That's some wild stuff. It sounds like that's probably not gonna be the end of it.
And if you want to see more of it, it's on their Facebook. There's more chaos on their Facebook.
It's updating by the minute.
Yes. Although I'm wondering if eventually it'll blow up to the point where they'll go back and delete everything, but we'll see.
Probably. Or like make things private and then go delete everything and then
yes. If you ever wanted proof that somebody did something wrong, that's it.
When people go and make it private and then clear it all.
Yes.
And then go,
But all right. Well, that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Coffee Crypt. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week coming up, and we will see you in the next one.
See you then.